And then we
and then we learned about component 6, 7, 8, 9 of the formal letters. And then etiquettes of writing email and common phrases of formal letters and email.
Okay, that we just started. We finished all the etiquette. There are some 13 or 14 points that I listed, that the etiquettes that we need to maintain while writing email. I explained all of them, isn't it?
I lost connection. Sorry, Mama, I lost connection.
Yeah, so I gave you all the 13 or 14 points of etiquette of writing email.
Yes, ma'am.
I discussed all of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And
then we saw also one example of email. You showed us Govind's example of reply and reply to all.
Reply all. Yes, I tried to. Yeah. So that means I explained each point of the etiquette of writing email.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then
then you asked us to write a short email to for request of to collect contribution for picnic and maintain record.
Okay. Yes. So to explain CC and first. Yeah. For how I do it, how I decide that who is to inform and who is to act.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. So yes. Good afternoon, Anku, Farhanul, Govind, and mechanics of writing and email. Yes, we'll briefly learn the mechanics of writing. And Rakesh says key points while writing email. Yes. Okay. Can you please type your Millie in the chat box? Can you type your Millie in the chat box? Okay. So Shaunak has already replied. Yes. Okay, so I'll quickly scroll up and check what is the most important thing students have learned. Okay, so yes, beware of reply all. Be very careful. Be very careful, because whoever is there in the mail list, the mail will go to each one of them. Be very careful. If you click on reply, it will just go to the sender. Reply all means whoever is there in the CC or BCC, whoever is there as part of the mail, the reply. I mean, they don't need to. Okay, there is no point crowding others' mailbox. Farhanul says thug daku. Ma'am, what do you mean by that? It means that ma'am is a thug daku. I mean, the way you have written it, I understand what you mean, but then the way you have put it is not very clear. Okay, I can take this as a learning experience, but then the way you have put it is not very clear. First thing is that the ma'am is written wrong, and then this is not you put it. This is the way, whatever you want to say. Okay, the presentation is wrong. The content I can take. Anjali is avoiding one-liners email. Yeah, the thing is that, when you write very short lines or just one single word, thanks, acknowledged, PFA, it shows that you are somehow reluctant to write the body of the letter, or maybe you are afraid to write the body of the letter. Or maybe you are very casual, very careless person. So anyway, this does not put you in a very good light, okay, that you are careless, or maybe you don't know how to write the body of the mail, or maybe you are reluctant, you are careless. Anyway, this does not put you. You can do it maybe for your WhatsApp chats, or maybe for Facebook, for these platforms. But then while you are writing formal letter, how much of an informal relation you share with the reader of the mail, please be formal while writing mails. And then Debangshi says, matching subject line with the purpose of the email. Keep it very always, okay? It should be in line with that, okay? Because many a time we don't even read the body of the mail. If I read the subject line, and if I see that I am in the CC, I might not even read the body of the mail. Because, anyway, I don't have to do any action. So, or maybe if your subject line is misguiding, and if it's not in line with the body, I might not even read it, because I decide to read the mail if the subject line is important for me, or it's relevant for me. So please write your subject line in a very right way. Yes, Anku writes things to be taken care of while writing an email. Anku, this is very broad for Millie. Okay, you probably could have chosen one particular component, or maybe you could have focused a bit. Okay, zoom in. Yes, so this time it's right, the way you put it. Importance of proofreading. Yes, this is not only for email. If it's an important email, say for example, you are writing an email as a project proposal. Okay, you are applying for a project of maybe of huge amount of money, and that project proposal will go to all the important people all over India, or maybe even outside India. It's always good to ask someone else to read the email if you have committed any mistake, because sometimes if we commit the mistake, we remain blind for that mistake. So it's always good to ask someone else to proofread if it's very documented, if it's a very important document, say for example for project proposal or research proposal, something like that. And Vikiran writes some etiquettes that we should follow while writing an email. Vikiran, some etiquettes is very, very vague, isn't it? Because I don't know, I gave you a list of 14 points, so I don't know. So maybe you can be a little specific, or make it to the point of media, because you can talk about only one skill. Rakesh says, no grammatical errors. Okay, yes, it's always very important. That is the first, that is the brick. Okay, if you are building a house, the finishing, the planning, the architecture is important, but the brick, that the spelling, the grammar, the punctuation, these are the bricks. So these are very important. Use of CC in email. Farhanul has revised his answer. CC is something like copy, and that person will be informed. Avoid one-liners in email. Yes, that is I explained. Kushev, use a professional mail address as a sender. Exactly, because you are not present there. Okay, you are only present through that mail. So that kind of email ID you have chosen, the kind of grammatical mistakes you have made, the kind of language that you have used, all contributes to the formation of your impression. So be very careful. As you remember that when we look at the mail chain, it was that someone from Thagdaku, and people all laughed. Imagine you are laughing as classmates, you are laughing as 19 and 20 years old. Imagine a 40-year-old person who gets all the formal emails and then get an email like this. Okay, I mean, they will probably not pay much attention. They will not probably give much importance to that mail that you write. Because someone who is serious about writing mail will also take a formal mail ID. Provide logical name to the attachments. Yes, exactly. That is the reason time and again we tell you how to name your file for midterm exam. You remember, that is how we told you how you should name your midterm examination. You give the roll number, and then you give your paper code. Okay, so with that roll number, there will be 5 or 6 submission, because you have 5 or 6 papers. But then Once I see that, okay, it is this roll number and this is for 205, so we can very precisely identify, okay, so this is from this student and for this particular paper. So that's the reason we time and again insist that please follow the naming format, please follow the naming format. Because imagine the exam coordinator of the department. The exam coordinator of the department will get all the answer scripts of all the students of all the subjects. Okay, so in my download in the folder where I download everything, there will be some 250 or 300 attachments. And how will I find it? And if you name it as image 301, so that's why it's very important to provide logical names to the attachment. Communications should be judicious about adding one recipient and CC for first recipient. Okay, first recipient. But then please keep in mind the first recipient can be 2 or 3 people. Okay, say for example, I'm writing a common mail to all the students. Okay, so and I don't want to add all the 150 mail ID. So what will I do is that my first recipient will be 6 people, the 2 class reps from each department. So the first number of first recipient are 6, because I'm sending it to all the class reps, and I'm maybe keeping all the HODs as CC. So it's possible that you have multiple recipient, but then there is the distinction between first recipient and CC. Shohan Sara says, write a meaningful subject line and keep the message focused. Yes, but then there should not be any full stop at the end of it. Write a meaningful subject line. Not meaningful, just meaningful. Yeah, subject line can have meaning, but then applicable, relevant. Your subject line can have a meaning, but then it's not in line with the context. So there is a difference between meaningful and relevant, meaningful and applicable. I hope you got the difference. So say for example, if I write that application for a new library card, and in the body I write about scholarship. So technically that phrase has a meaning, it's grammatically correct, it's conveying some meaning, but then it's not relevant, it's not correct in that way. So Abhijit Singh says writing email. Abhijit, this is again extremely broad. Okay, we learned specifically about etiquettes of writing email, and we had some 13 or 14 etiquettes. So next time try to be little specific, because writing email, you actually did not write email, isn't it? So writing email is a very broad thing. Yes, avoiding use of emoticons while writing emails. Why is it so? That is because it is expected that you will be able to put in words your emotion. Okay, I don't have to use the smiley too. The thing is that if I am upset, I will write that I am disappointed at the behavior that I got. Okay, if you are happy, instead of putting happy smiley, just write it in a very elegant way that I am extremely happy to know this. Okay, it makes the entire thing very authentic, very genuine, instead of just putting smiley. Imagine that I just send you a smiley, say for example, ma'am, I was chosen for this award. Okay, and if I just reply with a smiley, and then if I reply that Tathagato, I'm extremely happy to know about this achievement. Imagine the kind of emotion it will create. The smiley, the emotion that is created by this single smiley and one complete sentence. So that's the reason. Okay, so thank you all. Okay, because I told you, because I showed you the etiquettes of email writing, and we also learned how to write formal letter. I also told you before I go to the common phrases that you can use in formal letter and in email. I'll just show you a few formal letters, okay, mainly the body of it. Okay, So before I share this is an apology letter, okay? This is the body of an apology letter. But before I share the letter, let me give you the situation, the background for which the apology letter was important. So what happens is that there is one person who is Mr. Rao, and Mr. Rao visits one shop, and that shop is for office supplies. I mean, we need many things for in our office. Okay, say for example, chairs, tables, table organizer, or even printer, table calendar. So all these things. So there is a shop for this office supplies, and Mr. Rao visits that shop. And Mr. Rao was asking the price of one printer, and the salesperson who was there, he constantly insisted that Mr. Rao buys it. Okay, to buy it. Mr. Rao went there only to get the price or maybe the features, because maybe it's possible that Mr. Rao will probably visit many other shops and will know that these are the models available, these are the features available, and these are the price. So that is what we do. We always tally the price. Okay, we know that, I mean, which is fitting into our budget and our requirement. So probably that is what Mr. Rao was doing. But then the salesperson in the shop, he was constantly insisting that to buy it. You know that there is this pushy people in the shop. They will constantly push you to buy these things. So Mr. Rao got irritated at the behavior of the salesperson, and he writes a letter to the manager or some manager. And so in reply to that complaint letter, the manager is writing an apology letter to Mr. Rao because his staff persuaded too much, okay, insisted too much while buying, whereas Mr. Rao only came to know, gather certain information. So this is the situation, and the manager is writing an apology letter to Mr. Rao. Yes, the chat box. Okay, so I'll start reading. So Mr. Rao, this is the salutation. And then the first para, what we do is that what we generally give the background. On behalf of ABC Office Equipment, that is the name of the shop, on behalf of the ABC Office Equipment, I extend our sincere apologies for the bad experience you had with our sales associate, Mr. Kiran Reddy. I understand that Kiran made unprofessional remarks when you visited our storefront to inquire about a new copier. You came to us in search of information and instead were subjected to a pushy salesman. So that is the background. So once you read it, you know that what happened exactly during as part of that incident. At ABC, it's our goal to help you make an informed purchase decision without having to deal with aggressive sales tactics. Kiran is a new employee that I have been training. I take full responsibility for his behavior. He has received a written reprimand and will be shadowing one of our senior sales associates until he has a better understanding of the ABC office equipment approach. Uh, uh, but an understanding of the approach to customer service. I am grateful that you brought this issue to my attention and I ask your forgiveness. We hope to see you again soon. Kind regards, and then the signature and the name. Please note that the first para is about background. We get to know that what happened as part of the incident and see that there is not much details of it. Okay, what exactly Kiran mentioned, it's just that unprofessional remarks. Okay, keep it elegant. Don't belittle one human being. Unprofessional remarks. And then it's a kind of explanation that he is a new employee. So there is an explanation. At the same time, there is also a kind of action that I have taken. What we have done is that he has received a written reprimand. Okay, we have already informed that one customer is unhappy with your attitude. So he has already got it in written and will be shadowing one of our sales associates. Shadowing means standing behind, shadow. Okay, so there will be one sales associate who will be dealing and Kiran will be standing next to him or maybe standing behind him, just learning. So this is what we have done as an action after you raise the complaint. So do you understand that there is a background and then there is this apology that I take full responsibility for his behavior. And then you say that what you have done to kind of repair the damage. And then I'm thankful that you brought this issue to my attention and I ask your forgiveness. I hope to see you soon again is the closure. As I told you, at the towards the end of the formal letter, we generally write one or two sentences. Okay, I wish you all the best, or maybe I will look forward for a meeting, or maybe I will look forward for a job interview, something like that. So maybe on one or two sentences, we end it with a closure note. Okay, that's a closure note. So here, this is the closure note. Kind regards, and then the signature together is the signature. Okay, so kind regards is not the closure. Okay, the closure is that line. Anyway, I mean, these are flexible things, but then these are roughly how we structure it. So this, I'm grateful that you brought this issue to my attention. I ask your forgiveness. We hope to see you soon again. Is the closure, and then you put your signature and your name. So this is the way we structure the apology letter. Okay, and now I'm going to share one inquiry letter. So I'll start reading. This for the subject: inquiry about CAT coaching classes. Dear sir, this is with reference to your advertisement in the Times of India for CAT coaching classes. I have passed the BSc degree examination with statistics as the main subject. I am keen on joining your institute for the coaching classes. So this is the background. Okay, this is the reason I want to know certain things. So because I want to appear for CAT and I have seen your advertisement, and then kindly let me know about the procedure of applying for the qualifying test and its date. I would also like to know the duration of the coaching program, the duration and number of classes per week, along with the available mode of classes. Information about fees payable and the study materials is highly appreciated. Could you please send me a copy of your prospectus? So this catalogs a few questions because this is an inquiry letter. So look at the precision of each question. Okay, applying, I want to know the procedure of applying for the qualifying test and its date. I would also like to know the duration of the coaching program, which is 6 months, 1 year, the duration and number of classes. A class is 1 hour, 2 hours, and the number of classes per week, along with the available mode of classes. Okay, some of them will be online, some of them will be offline. Or you will, for some classes, you will just send the reading materials through post. What will be the mode of classes? Information about fees payable and the study materials is highly appreciated. Could you please send me a copy of your prospectus? So these are the inquiries. And then the closure. I would like to enroll as soon as possible. Your early response will enable me to decide first. As I told you, for many inquiry letter, we try to give them some kind of deadline, okay, that by this time I am expecting it, because it will help me take my decision. So this is also a closure. I would like to enroll as soon as possible. Your early response will enable me to decide first. This is the closure, and then signature, thanking you, name. It should be name. I could not type before I typed, I posted it. So that's it. I'll show you one more. Okay, can I move forward, or are you still reading these two letters? Am I moving too fast? Because I don't know, you might have difficulty reading it in your mobile. So maybe I'm reading too fast. Should I wait for some time and then, or maybe should I discuss about the third one? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am, wait some time.
Yes, Sohan Sagar? Can you
Wait, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, wait some time.
I can't hear your exact response.
Ma'am, I am reading the
You are reading it. Okay. Once you are done, let me know. Okay. There is a question in the chat box. You can reply in the chat box. I'll quickly scroll up and check how you have responded. So while we read about formal letters, we said that never use acronym. Okay, in the first instance, always use. Say for example, if you are writing it for the second time, then it's fine, because in the first instance you had already established that this means this. So first, either don't use it. If you are using it in the first instance, give the full form. So that is the kind of rule. And I told you that how much ever common that is, how much ever common. As I told you, while I posted for internal assessment, okay, we all know, because the entire post is about internal assessment, but then still I wrote internal assessment and I then put it in bracket, hence IA. So the thing is that even if I could have written IA, because all of us will understand that, because during that time we had been discussing. So I did not, but then I did not assume, because this is not how acronyms work. In the first instance of any acronym, you have to give the full name. So that's the reason I asked you that for this letter, it's violating, isn't it? So why do you think the acronym CAT is used here? So Anjali says CAT is very famous exam for MBA entrance. No, it's the same mistake that you are making. How much ever famous that is. As I told you, don't assume that the other person will know it. And then Rajoshi says it's a term known by both the sender and the recipient. That is what you assume. Okay, but then there, as I told you, there are certain etiquettes that what is assumed. Okay, there is, I mean, it's known. So it's a kind of assumption. So no, this is also not the logic. Prakash is actually so well known is how much ever well known that is. There are certain etiquettes. Okay, we are not going to do that. How, I mean, it might be known to you the way Rajoshi said that both the sender and the recipient, but then there are certain mechanics of writing. Uddesha says that abbreviation is used here. Look at Uddesha's response. Okay, he has written it. I mean, his response is actually corresponding to my question. The others, they have just given the answer. Uddesha has started with the question. Abbreviation is used here because my question started with why. Very good, Uddesha, very good. I hope all of you are paying attention to Uddesha's response. Because my question had why, Uddesha has started his answer with because. Okay, that's what you mean when I say corresponding. This is how you do it. Okay, abbreviation is used here because in general masses, as CAT itself is more than common aptitude test. But then Uddesha, the next part of your answer is not grammatically correct, and I guess there is some typing error. No, even that is not the answer. It's the same. It's the same answer that students are coming with just different responses. CAT is the acronym for the exam. Hence, the name of the coaching institute is CAT Coaching Classes. Anku says because it may have been used as it is by the coaching institute in the advertisement. Exactly. I'll come to that. Anku has got the right answer. So yes, I'll just quickly come down. Shohan Sagar, what is this full stop, people? See, next time I see all these things, I'm just going to, what is this full stop, Shohan Sagar? Common entrance test full stop. Okay, it's the response. Okay, it's a continuation of it. Okay, Aditya Dattarai says that it's entrance test after graduation. Well, know that. But then still, it's the first instance of CAT might have been given in the full form. Exactly. That's it. If you read the first line of the letter, you will see that in response to your advertisement. And if you check the advertisement, you will see that in the advertisement, the full form of CAT is given. Okay, so this is not the first time we are using. So the conversation started with the advertisement when the institute published the advertisement in the newspaper. So there he gave the explanation. If you check the advertisement, you will see that it's possible that they have given the full name. And this letter, this inquiry letter is written as a response to that letter. So this is not the first instance, this is the second instance. So you don't need to, because if the coaching class has already established the full name of the acronym. So in the first instance, CAT might have given in the full form in the advertisement. Yes. So it's not that both of us understand it. It's nothing like that. It's because it's written here. This is with reference to your advertisement in the Times of India. And if you go back and check the advertisement, you will see that their CAT is not used. There it's written in full form. I hope I could explain it. Okay. So this is not the first instance. This is the second instance. So yes, this is how it happens. And the next is another complaint letter. So before I discuss the complaint letter, let me give you the background. Okay, just did I answer my question? I asked you a question, and then Rajoshi and Anku's answer came very close. I mean, that is actually the answer. But then for others, those who replied or maybe who could not reply, I hope the answer is clear that why the acronym CAT is used here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. See, for such questions, please use your microphone. Otherwise, I want to save the chat box for academic discussion and for other things. Otherwise, if you save the chat, I mean, I will see that it's very irritating to read all this non-academic discussion, or maybe this informal communication is disturbing the flow of it. Okay, so yes, Tamalika says yes, ma'am. Okay, so next I'm going to share a complaint letter. So what happened? So one office placed some order for letterhead and visiting card or business card. You get these small business cards where your designation and all the office communication details are there. So they placed an order for that letterhead. Letterhead is the writing pad with something printed on the top of it. So they placed an order, and the company or the shop that they placed order, they delivered it late. That is one problem, that they delivered it, they did not maintain the deadline. And the second thing is that the paper that they used for a visiting card and also for the writing pad is of poor quality. And this is creating impression for the company who placed the order, because they will be giving the letterheads to other people and then the business card. So the quality of the paper is very important here. So first thing is that the missed deadline. The second thing is that the quality of the service. So now the first company which are unhappy with the quality of the paper and the missed deadline are writing a complaint letter. So this is the situation. Yes, Anjali.
Ma'am, Tamalika.
Tamalika, yes, Tamalika.
Ma'am, in this, the sentence, we have faced a lot of embarrassment and inconvenience. I mean, these are in two paragraphs.
Yeah, that is because I exceeded the limit of the paragraph. When you post something in the chat box, there is a maximum limit of the number of paragraphs. So after embarrassment and it stopped. And then I made another post. That's the reason. So one and is extra, and it's part of one single sentence, line and paragraph. There is no break of paragraph or line or even sentence, and just discard one and. start reading. So it's a complaint letter. I told you the situation that this is a complaint about missed deadline and poor service. Subject, complaint against order number this. So there is nothing extra. Okay, it's not then filing a complaint, forwarding a complaint, nothing. Complaint and the order number. That's it. Dear Madam, this is with reference to the order number this placed on November this. The order consists of letterhead and business cards. As per the agreement, we were promised of receiving the order latest by November 22 this. First of all, the order did not reach in time. Also, the quality of the papers and design selected for business cards is not matching with the selected one. We have faced a lot of embarrassment and inconvenience, and our reputation is at stake in the eyes of our clients. So I have talked about my complaint with all the necessary information. What is that? The order number and when was it placed. And if you look at, if you pay attention to the paragraph or even the following paragraph, you will see that there are 3 instances of date and see the consistency. November 17, 2020, November 20, 2020, December 4, 2020. So the consistency of date is maintained and all the necessary information are there. In the first paragraph also talks about the issue that made me unhappy. And then what I expect. Okay, complaint letter also comes with a kind of suggestion or feedback or some kind of action that I'm expecting. Kindly ensure that the order will be replaced latest by December 4, failing which payment will be stopped or it will be cancelled. I sincerely request you to look into the matter and do the needful as soon as possible. So this is the second para. There is no closure here and directly the signature thanking you this. But then after reading the letter, do you think there should be some enclosure? Complaint letter, we generally add enclosure to validate our complaint, to make our complaint authenticate. So what kind of enclosure do you think that office should add? You can put it in the chat box that what type of enclosure they should put along with this complaint letter. Anyone? I hope you were typing. I hope you got my question. I asked you to type the type of enclosure that you should add with this complaint letter. Are you here? Why don't I see? Yes, Uddesha, I expect you to pay attention to the deadline you get from now onwards. No, I'm not asking you to write the closure. I'm asking you to add enclosure. What type of enclosure that I should add? Enclosure are the supporting documents. If you are applying for a job, your mark sheets are the enclosure. If you are for a scholarship, maybe the application form and your mark sheets are the enclosure. Yes. No. It's possible, Uddesha, that maybe I said closure by mistake. I meant enclosure. Okay, enclosure. I got it. They sound very similar. I'm sorry. Yes, the way you have written, I expect you to pay attention to the deadline you get from now onwards can be a closure for this. this. That's a good closure for this letter. And Devangshi says picture of the selected design of the paper and the picture of the paper received. Okay. Anjali says details of when the order arrived and a sample of the order they received. Okay. Shaunak says attaching the documents which proves that the order did not arrive on time. What are the exact documents? Sample of card they selected and the card they received and received. Yes, very focused. Vikiran says receipt of the order and some photos of the product received. Okay. Very good. Rajoshi says new business card, letterheads, PDF or picture. Okay. So this is how we write enclosure. Okay, you write copy of the order, because when you give the copy of the order, all the details will be there. Okay, the particular number. Okay, so every design will have a number. Okay, and that number, so you don't have to take picture. As I told you, this is very, very formal. The picture might not reflect it very properly. Okay, you can do it for your informal things, but then when it comes to office communication, it's always done in terms of numbers or terms. So when you chose the design might have a number in the brochure or maybe in the catalog. So, and that number will be mentioned in the order. Okay, that this person placed this many orders of this particular image on this type of paper. Even they will have catalog for that papers used. Okay, so all these details will be there in the order. So the copy of the order, and then the copy of the agreement. See, look at the body of the letter. Okay, it says that as per the agreement. So that means there might be some kind of agreement. Okay, that maybe the order will be delivered on this particular date, or maybe who will bear the cost of the delivery. So how these products will be packed. There might be some kind of, so one order will talk about the details of the product, and agreement will talk about the delivery and shipping charges and all this. So you have to also add the copy of the agreement, which probably mentions the date of delivery, and then delivery receipt, so that you can show them the gap, that the agreement said this date and the delivery when the product receives, you also sign, isn't it? Even for Amazon, you will see that you will get a kind of message from Amazon that your product was delivered, or maybe sometimes you sign somewhere. So that's the proof of the delivery date. Sometimes time as well, because you get mail, maybe in 2-3 minutes after receiving the product. So that's the kind of proof of the date and the time, and sample of the product received. Okay, you can also add one copy of the letterhead or maybe the business product. So this is how you write enclosures, and the actual enclosure should be in this order. Okay, the cover letter first. Cover letter, by cover letter I mean the letter that comes on the top, that is the formal letter, and then because it covers all other documents, it's also called, sometimes the formal letter is also called a cover letter. Okay, because it covers the other document, it comes on the top. So the cover letter, and then the copy of the order, copy of the agreement, delivery receipt, and sample of the product receipt. Because in this case, you can send a sample of the product, not in other cases. Here, because it's a paper, you can probably send a sample of the product receipt. Is this clear? That how we keep even our enclosures formal, how we keep our enclosures official. In some cases, probably you can send images. So I'll move to the next type.
मैम
Yes, Uddesha, yes.
मैम इस लेटर का सिचुएशन में ऐसा था कि एक कंपनी बिजनेस कार्ड्स वगैरह कुछ ऑर्डर किया और
क्या
गलत
क्या
लगा
ऑर्डर किया उद्देश्य?
मैम इसी ये लेटर के ये रिस्पेक्ट में
हाँ
ये इसको गलत प्रोडक्ट पहुंचा है कंपनी को,
हाँ
लेकिन ऐसा मान लीजिए सिचुएशन है कि गलत प्रोडक्ट पहुंचने का कारण खुद इस कंपनी का मिसकम्युनिकेशन होगा और
कंपनी का जिसने ऑर्डर प्लेस किया, जिसने ऑर्डर प्लेस किया उसी कंपनी का मिसकम्युनिकेशन उसका कारण है। और जो कंपनी उसको ये सारा कार्ड वगैरह भेजा है उसके पास वो सारा प्रूफ है कि यही चीज भेजा, तो वो कैसे इसका रिप्लाई करेगा? वो किस टाइप का लेटर में आएगा? उसमें वो ये रिप्लाई करेगा, they will write subject as response to your complaint. They won't write apology because they are not asking for apology because it was not their mistake. So they are just responding to the complaint. Okay, so they won't write apology against this complaint. They will write response against complaint letter dated this. Okay, and then they will write that we have received a complaint letter from you on this particular date, mentioning our delay of delivery and wrong products are delivered. So they will give the background, and then in the second para they will say that we would like to bring it to your notice that all these things happened because of the miscommunication from your part. In the order details, the product is mentioned in this number and this is how it is, and supporting that they will also add something. Maybe they will the thing is that you can actually trace down the miscommunication, isn't it? The miscommunication generally happens because of some wrong word or wrong number. Okay, so you can actually trace down that the reason for which the miscommunication happened. Maybe one sentence was structured in a wrong way. Maybe the date was written in an illegible way. I mean, you can't read the date properly. Maybe there was a stamp on the date, or maybe you wrote the number of the product wrong. It's possible. So you trace down the reason or the document that created the miscommunication and you add that as an enclosure.
तो लेटर का टोन क्या होगा?
लेटर का टोन पोलाइट तो नहीं होगा, असर्टिव होगा, क्योंकि हमारा गलती नहीं था, आपके तरफ से गलती थी, हमने बस एक्सप्लेनेशन दे रहे हैं, ये कंप्लेंट पूरा ही रॉन्ग है, तो ये असर्टिव होगा, पोलाइट तो नहीं होगा. Okay, or you want me to write in detail? Do you want me to write the letter in detail?
No need, ma'am. Just for curiosity.
Yeah, the thing is that in the first instance, you say you accept the receipt of the complaint letter regarding this, and you say that I discussed, or maybe I contacted my delivery team, and we came to know that the miscommunication happened because of this. Okay. Okay, so Uddesha asked that, say for example, it's because of some miscommunication. As I told you, it might be possible. As I told you, that the way the dates were written, as I told you, the wrong way of writing the dates. There are two ways of writing this. The September, 9th September and 11th September and 9th November. The confusion can be because of that, or maybe there was a stamp on the date, so you can't read it. So you find it out because for which reason this communication happened, because no communication happens verbally. Okay, that's the reason every official communication is documented so that you can trace down at any point of time. Okay, if there is any, because for such cases there are many cases. Okay, every office will have number of cases, number of charges, and all these things. So you don't depend on verbal communication or any oral communication, telephonic communication. Everything is documented. You send a reminder, that's something else. But then, as I told you, that's the reason many office communications are documented. Okay, we write 2-3 mails each day, long mails each day, just for the sake of the documentation. So the next is the one when the company which missed the deadline and sent the wrong product is writing an apology letter. So now the letter that I'm going to post in the chat box is actually an apology letter for the complaint letter that we just discussed about letterhead and missed deadline, quality of the paper. Okay, so I'll start reading. So this apology letter is in response to the previous complaint letter. Subject: reply to the complaint against order number, the same number. Okay, dear sir, this is with reference to your order number this, which you placed with your company on November this. We sincerely apologize to you for the inconvenience caused. Right now, we are facing problems with supply from the manufacturer's end, and also we are flooded with a large number of orders. We are taking steps in regard to your complaint, and we ensure that we will replace the order latest by December 5. Also, a similar problem does not occur in future again. So we will ensure that a similar problem does not occur in future again. We would appreciate your support on this matter. So we would appreciate your support on this matter is actually a closure. You can break the para there. We would support your, we would appreciate your support on this matter is a kind of note of positivity. So you can break it here and make it a closure and then signature thanking you. So the next one is about sending reminder for payment. Okay, we also learned about something like missed payment, isn't it? So this is about missed payment, and someone is sending a reminder that their payment is due. Okay, so I'll start reading. Reminder for paying dues. Dear sir, this is to remind you that your organization has taken a loan of 2 crores 2 years back on June 18th, 2016. As per the agreement and loan guidelines, on completion of 1.5 year, you would need to pay back the 80% of the principal amount with the appropriate interest. Till now, we have received just 50% of the principal amount. As the payment is due since long, we would appreciate if you send the check immediately. I request you to kindly look into the matter within the next 6 working days by September 6th. So, yeah, next 16 working days is again little relative. So he or she has mentioned the exact date by September 6, 2018. Otherwise, strict legal action will be taken. Kindly acknowledge the matter. Thanking you. Name and the enclosure is a copy of the agreement and copy of receipt. Copy of agreement will have all the details, how much of money and the kind of commitment. All these things are there, and copy of receipt will say that there was a delay. Okay, so the next one is a resignation letter. So much about marketing strategy is the same line, same sentence, same paragraph. I hope we have quickly read through the resignation letter. So the resignation letter is written to Miss Renu Abraham. Maybe she is the HR manager, or maybe the officer in the personal section who is in charge with this appointment and resignation. So please accept this letter as a formal notification that I'm resigning from my position as account executive with marketing media. Marketing Media is the name of the company. My last day will be Thursday, March 2, 2019. Thank you so much. So I say that this is the last day. Thank you so much for the opportunity to work in this position for the past 6 years. I have greatly enjoyed and appreciated the opportunities I have to grow our appreciated the opportunities I have had to grow our sales team to be a part of creating a great product and work with my fellow colleagues. And I have learned so much about marketing strategy and the digital media space, which I will certainly take with me throughout my career. I'll do everything possible to wrap up my duties and train other team members over the next 2 weeks. Please let me know if there is anything else I can do to help during this transition. I wish the company continued success and I hope to stay in touch in the future. So that is how we generally end resignation letter. Okay, we don't burn the bridges. Okay, we don't destroy the bridges. Okay, I'm leaving the company, but then I wish all the best, and I also say that my resignation won't affect our relationship. So that's as I told you for letter to decline or resignation letter, we generally end with some amount of politeness and some amount of positivity, and that's the closure. And then towards the middle, you also say that these are the things I have learned, and before you leave, you also give some kind of commitment that I'll hand over my responsibilities, or maybe I will return the office stationery, or maybe I'll pay the due amount, some kind of commitment, because this is coming to a closure, a term is coming to a closure. So you also make some kind of commitment. So in response to a resignation letter, the office also makes some kind of commitment that we will clear all your dues and we will wish you success for your new venture, something like that. So here is an example of another resignation letter. Okay, so I'll start reading the next resignation letter. I'm writing to give you my formal notice that I'll be leaving my office, of my role as office manager for Larry and Keith's Financial Partners, name of the company, on July 31st, 2019. I have recently received an offer to serve as an executive assistant at a small startup. And after careful consideration, I have decided to explore this new path in my career journey. So as I told you, you don't have to give much details, okay? Which company you are joining, why, all these things. So you just keep it simple, elegant, that I have got another for a small startup company, and I thought that I will explore the opportunities. I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunities I have been provided working on the operations team for the past 4 years. It's been a wonderful experience to work for such a great company and help in solving Larry and Keith's mission to provide better financial support for older employees. Please let me know if I can be of any assistance during this transition. Thank you for all your guidance. I wish you all the best and look forward to keeping in touch. Yours sincerely, Name. So the last para starting from please let me know is a kind of closure. Yes.
मैम
Yes.
मैम इधर जो सब रजिस्ट्रेशन लेटर जो लिखा हुआ है ना वो तो छोड़ के जा रहे हैं, मतलब कुछ अच्छा मिल रहा है उसको या कुछ डिफरेंट मिल रहा है. अगर कोई कंपनी है जो मतलब एक एम्प्लॉय को पता चलो उसको कंपनी फ्रॉड कर रहा है क्लाइंट्स के साथ, उसको बाद में पता है और उसको तब रेजिग्नेशन देना पड़ेगा, तो वो कैसे लिखेगा?
समझ में नहीं आया दीप ज्योति, मुझे सिचुएशन क्रोनोलॉजिकली बताओ कि पहले क्या हुआ उसके बाद क्या हुआ.
कंपनी जनरली फ्रॉड करता है उन क्लाइंट्स के साथ जिसमें काम कर रहा है, उसको पता नहीं था इतना. अब वो कंपनी छोड़ के जा रहा है तो वो रजिस्ट्रेशन लेटर कैसे लिखेगा?
अच्छा,
उसमें तो पॉलाइटनेस ज्यादा नहीं आएगा ना.
समझ गए. देखो ये सी दीप ज्योति, फॉर मेनी प्राइवेट कंपनीज while you work there you feel that you are giving too much to the company. Okay, for your case you are saying that the company was a fraud, it was it did not manage their place properly, but then it's also possible that the particular company is very wrong with its employees as well. Say for example they did not give maternity leave, or maybe they don't grant leave to their employees. Okay, so it's not about being fraud, it's about not treating your employees properly, and for this reason you feel that you are being exploited in the company. Okay, you are giving too much, you are overexploited by the company, so you explore other things and you leave the company. Even for that you don't express your anger or your frustration on the resignation letter. As they say that don't burn the bridges. Okay, don't burn the bridges. See, the thing is that a company is an abstract idea. Okay, a company is made of certain human beings. Okay, and if you write a resignation letter to the company, at the end of the day some human beings is going to read that letter. Okay, and it's possible that you meet that person in some other place, maybe in some other company. As I told you that in private companies the population is very mobile. You meet Mr. X in one company and then you leave, and in between Mr. X also leaves, and after some years you again meet in another office. So you never show your anger, how much ever exploited you are, how much ever you think that the company is doing wrong to its clients. It should not be reflected on the resignation letter. You can write a complaint letter. You can talk to your the things that every company will have a grievance cell, isn't it? Even our university has a grievance cell for students. If you are not happy with the functioning, you can talk about your grievances. Okay, you can talk about your dissatisfaction. But then resignation letter is not the format. It's not the platform where a medium or tool where you talk about such kind of dissatisfaction. It's possible that your company is doing some wrong business. You bring it, if you think that you have the power or you have the voice, you have the confidence, you can put it in front of grievance cell, not in resignation letter. Dipjyoti, is this what you wanted to know, or I answered? Yes, this is what you wanted to know, yes. Okay? Yeah. So even if you know that you are overexploited, even if you know that the company is exploiting some other clients along with the employees, resignation letter is not the place to document that. Keep your resignation letter elegant. Okay, because you will see that when this is the goodwill that we try to keep. As I told you, company is not company or any office for that matter. Is an abstract idea. It's the human beings which are actually the concrete part of it. Okay, and we meet. It's a small world. We meet each other. Okay, when we resign, most of the time we resign out of frustration. We resign out of heartbreak. We resign out of anger. But then you will never see resignation letter documenting all these negative emotions. Okay, there is another place for this negative emotion, reversal. Okay, you can talk about all these things during your office meeting. People do that. People say that no, we don't think we are doing right with the clients, not in the resignation letter. Okay, don't burn the bridges. Okay, because that is the last document from your part in the office file probably. Okay, and try to keep it, try to live gracefully. Okay, maintain that grace with which you entered the office. As we say that we should always end with sweetness. Okay, so these are the few types of letters that I thought that we can show you. I can show you to say that how the first para is drafted, how the second para is drafted, what kind of language we use. Look at the language of all this paper. There is no ambiguity. It's very clear cut. It's very direct. The reader will understand what the sender has written. So there is no ambiguity. There is no scope of miscommunication. The way the official letters are written. So you can use them as a model, but then you can also search online and you can come across better formal letters. So yes, so this is how we write it. So now we learn a few common phrases or a few handy list which will catalog few expressions, few phrases that you can use in your email or in your formal letter. Give me some time. Okay, before I show you, I forgot one thing. Okay. In the chat box, what we did or what are the other plans for this class. So we did revision and then Emily, and then we also looked at some samples of formal letter, and then I'm going to talk about the mechanics of writing. So, there are certain rules that we follow while we write, which is different from speaking. So, a few of them are so this is what we are discussing now. This is the mechanics of writing. So, okay. So, what is that? First is the rules of capitalization. We make certain letters capital. Say, for example, the first letter of a sentence is capital. Now, I I understand that when you are using laptop or when you are using mobile, it's difficult to make it capital. But then, as I told you, formal letters are serious affair. So the first letter of each sentence is capital. And then by I, when you refer to the self, when you refer to the yourself, when you refer to yourself, when you refer to the self, that I is always